Continuing on here, we need to create the Dvi port. So what I'm going to do is with this object selected, I'll go to polygon mode, select this polygon right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to the geometry menu of the modeling ribbon, hit detach. I'm going to detach it as a clone, and I'll just go ahead and call this Dvi, just to keep it nice and organized. Then I'm going to select that new Dvi object that I created. I'm going to take its polygon and I'm going to pull it forward like this. I'm also going to scale it down a little bit so it fits in the hole a little bit better, and probably make it a little bit wider. And then the next thing I'm going to do with this polygon selected, I'm going to go into my quad menu and I'm going to select the inset command. Let me see how much I want to inset it. Maybe I'll go to something like 0.5, looks pretty good, so I'll hit OK. Alright. Now if we look at the Dvi port in the image, what we have here is basically very simple. This bottom area has a bunch of little square holes, and on top we have this kind of little slit. It's kind of like a long, thin, rectangular hole, so it's going to be pretty easy to do. What I'm going to do is go to edge mode. I'm going to select these two edges here. I'm going to go to my connect tool, go to connect options, give it one segment and hit OK. I'm going to go quickly to my back view over here. I'm going to move this edge up to here in the image where I can, it's kind of blurry, but I can see that's where the little square holes are separated. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to take this polygon on the top right here, and I'm going to go to the inset tool and hit OK. And now what I'm going to do is simply use the scale tool to go ahead and scale this little slit down and get the shape that I want. So something like this looks pretty good. Then I'm going to extrude it to push it in because it's actually kind of a hole or something that goes in there. So I'm going to push it a fair amount in, so something like that. And then down here I'm going to go to edge mode. I'm going to take these two edges, and this is where I'm going to start to make my segments, connections, subdivisions down there for those little holes. So in the image, if we count the holes from top to bottom, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 8 of these holes going down, and going across to the right we have 3. Okay, so I'm going to take these two edges here. I'm going to go to the connect tool, and I'm going to make myself 7 segments. I'm going to take the pinch parameter and set that to 0 so it doesn't mess things up. And with these edges selected, I'll just select the top and bottom ones right here. So these edges, okay? I'm going to go back to the connect options. I'm going to connect this 2 times and hit OK. So now basically we have 1, 2, 3 polygons across plus the 8 going down. I'm going to select all of those polygons. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the inset options. I'm going to make sure that my type of inset is not set to group, set it to polygon, so each inset is individual. I'm going to inset this to about where it looks good. So something like this looks pretty good. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to extrude this. I'm going to push it in a fair amount because those are little holes there. If I do a quick render, you see what I have. Looks very similar to the image. Now let's finish this off. I'm going to go to border selection mode. Okay. Now I'm going to take these guys over here. And basically, I'm going to use the move tool and hold down shift to extrude that and pull it back. And you can pull this back into the object. It really doesn't matter because that's a non-visible area, so we don't have to worry about that. So once you have that, I'm going to go to edge mode. I'm going to select this edge here. I'm going to grab the entire ring of edges all the way around by hitting the ring button. And then what I'm going to do is go to chamfer. When I go to chamfer, I'm going to give this a good amount of chamfer, maybe something like that. I'm going to hit apply and continue. Reduce the chamfer and get something maybe like that. I'm going to hit OK. If I render this out, those corners right there are faceted, which is no good. So I'll go to polygon mode. I'll select a couple of these polygons, go to modify selection, select the entire loop. Then I could go over here to properties, and I could go to this button that says smooth 30. That's the same thing as doing kind of like the auto smooth over here in the modify panel. It's just quicker access to get it from the modeling ribbon. So when I render that out, I can see that the polygon normals actually look pretty good. Okay. So that's going to do it for the Dvi port. Now let's work on the Vga port. Now the Vga port is slightly different, so that's why I'm going to show you how to do it instead of skipping ahead. So I'm going to take the polygon right here, very similar technique, go to geometry, detach this. I'm going to call this Vga. Make sure you detach it as a clone. I'm going to select that new object, grab its only polygon and pull it forward like what I did with the Dvi port. So I'm going to make it stick out a little bit like this. I'm not going to get too picky with it. I'm also going to scale this down to something like this, and I'm going to scale it to the sides here to make it kind of wider. So something like this looks pretty good. Same thing with the Dvi port. I'm going to inset this. Maybe I'll go 0.5 like what I did with the Dvi port. Might look pretty good. So I'm going to say I'm happy with that. Okay, now the Vga port, as we can see in the reference image, is a little bit different. Basically, we have only one type of hole, these little round dark holes. But they're set up in 3 columns. But the center column is offset. The column on the left and the right look similar. In fact, they look exactly the same. But the one in the middle is kind of offset. It's kind of pushed up. And if we count the holes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 for each one of these columns. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go to edge mode. I'm going to take this edge, this edge. I'm going to go to the connect tool here. I'm going to take that pinch and set that to 0. So I have myself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let me reduce this actually. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me reduce that one more. So I'll do 4 edges, which will give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 polygons, which, you know, you would think is good. However, I'm going to add one more so that we have 6, and I'm going to hit OK. And you're going to see why in a moment. 6 is better. So I'm going to select this top edge here, that bottom edge right there. Just make sure those are the only edges you have selected. Okay. And with those edges selected, what I'm going to do is go to connect. I'm going to connect this about 2 times like this. I'm going to hit OK. So now we've basically got these 3 polygons going across, which is good. But we also have 6 going from top to bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So what I can do now is I could select these 5 and these 5 over here, and then over here in the middle I could select the top 5 like this, and that's going to give me this pattern that I need to achieve the effect I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to inset. I'm going to go something maybe like this. Looks pretty good. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to extrude these polygons in, pull them in a fair amount. I'm going to, with this object selected, I'm going to go to isolate selection by hitting Alt and Q on the keyboard. Now I'm going to hit T to go to the top view. I'm going to go to edge mode. I'm going to select all these edges that are right there. Okay. I'm going to go back to my perspective view here. These holes aren't very square shaped. They're kind of rectangular. So I'm going to take all the polygons here and I'm going to scale them down just a little bit, just to make them a little bit more even. Go back to edge mode. I'm going to go back to chamfer. The trick is to get the chamfer amount right there to match up pretty good. So I'm going to say that looks pretty good. You know, I'm not going to fiddle around with it too much. I think you get the idea. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm happy with that. If those edges still selected, I'll control click on the polygon over here. Take those polygons and smooth them out like we've done before. And that should look, that looks pretty good. Okay, excellent, awesome. All right, I'm going to exit isolation mode. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to this border here. And I'm going to hold down shift while I move this back. Something like that looks pretty good. Okay. Now in the image we can see at the right side is a little bit curved here. Also the left side, but the left side looks like it's a little bit taller right there. What I mean by taller is I'm going to take this polygon that's right here on this side. I'm going to scale it up just a bit. Something like that. Now I'm going to take these 2 edges that are right here. And I'm going to go to chamfer. I'm going to chamfer this about right here. Looks pretty good. I'm going to hit apply and continue. Do a second chamfer like that. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to take this edge that's right there, this edge that's right there. I'm going to chamfer that as well. And that amount of chamfer looks pretty good. So I'll hit apply and continue. Hit OK. Just to make sure that the polygons look good, which they don't. They look faceted. I'm going to select a couple of polygons, go to modify selection, grab the loop, then go to properties and smooth that out like we've done before lots and lots of times. Okay, so there's the Vga port. So the Vga and Dvi port are complete. They're done, ready to go. I'm going to end this video here, and in the next one we'll continue working on the rear area. We still have a lot of details to go.